Welcome back to the Savage Sanctified Podcast, where we talk grown woman, kingdom wisdom, money, dating, healing, and peace without sugarcoating anything. I'm your host, Valeri Logans. Today we're talking about counterfeit versus promise and why skipping the process keeps costing us more than we realize. Let me start here. I used to say I wanted to grow my business, and I meant it. I took class after class, signed up for programs, watched videos, did all the things. But the moment the process felt too long to me, I skipped ahead. I always wanted the end result without respecting the steps, and every time I didn't succeed. What changed everything was when I stopped looking at the failures individually and started looking at the pattern. Because this wasn't just business. I did this with men, with school, with jobs, even recipes. Always looking for the shortcut, always asking, what's the fastest way? Always trying to hack what required patience. So here's the real question I had to ask myself. Why do I keep skipping what's necessary and then acting surprised when nothing holds? And the answer wasn't a lack of intelligence. It wasn't laziness. It was impatience. Waiting exposes where you want control more than growth. And that's where counterfeits enter. A counterfeit is anything that offers you progress without process. When I started seeing that pattern, the story of Abraham and Sarah hit differently. God promises Abraham something big. Time passes. Nothing happens fast enough. So they decide to step in and help the process. And what they create works, but it isn't the promise. Here's the teaching moment. Just because something produces a result doesn't mean it produces peace. That's what I had been doing, choosing outcomes over alignment. Skipping steps doesn't eliminate consequences, it delays them. Scripture shows us God's authority and wisdom, but doing the work is where the transformation happens. Prayer showed me the truth. Doing the work showed me my patterns. The Bible gave me wisdom. Doing the work showed me where I rushed, forced, and compromised. So let me ask you the same question I had to ask myself. What are you skipping because you don't want to wait? Is it discernment? Is it consistency? Is it healing? Is it obedience? Waiting isn't punishment, it's preparation. And when you bypass preparation, you don't avoid pain, you reschedule it. Here's the solution, and it's not complicated, but it is honest. Stop looking for hacks where God is asking for maturity. If something is rushing you, pressuring you, or promising ease without depth, pause. Counterfeits always appeal to impatience. Every shortcut I took in my life cost me more time in the long run. Not because I wasn't capable, but because I didn't want to do the work. And that's why this matters beyond business or dating. Some decisions don't just delay you, they shape what comes after you. So if you're waiting right now, here's what waiting well actually looks like. Staying grounded, doing the work, letting wisdom lead instead of urgency, and yes, fixing your face while you wait, because desperation clouds discernment every single time. So let's slow this down for a moment, because the real issue isn't just impatience, it's what impatience is trying to protect you from feeling. Waiting brings things to the surface: fear, doubt, old wounds, the pressure to prove something to yourself or to other people. And if we're honest, a lot of us don't skip the process because we don't understand it. We skip it because sitting in the middle makes us uncomfortable. Waiting forces you to confront questions like, what if this doesn't work out? What if I do everything right and still don't get the result? What if God's timing doesn't match my expectations? That discomfort is where most people reach for a counterfeit, because a counterfeit gives you relief. It quiets the anxiety. It makes you feel productive. It gives the illusion of movement. But relief is not the same as peace. And this is where wisdom comes in. When you look at Scripture, God rarely rushes anything that's meant to last. But when you look at life experience, rushing almost always creates cleanup. That's the part we don't talk about enough: the cleanup, the emotional cleanup, the financial cleanup, the spiritual cleanup. Every time I rushed something, I didn't save time, I borrowed trouble. So here's another question worth asking yourself. What has rushing ever really given you that you didn't have to undo later? Because impatience doesn't remove the work, it postpones it. And doing the work later is always harder than doing it in order. That's why waiting well matters. Waiting well doesn't mean you stop moving. It means you move with intention instead of urgency. It means you let wisdom lead instead of anxiety. It means you don't confuse pressure with direction. And yes, it means trusting God enough to stay in the process even when you don't see immediate results. So just let that sit for a second. If you're in a waiting season right now, this is what I want you to hear clearly. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not missing anything meant for you, but you do have a choice. You can try to hack your life, basically. You can rush and repeat, or you can wait, do the work, and build something that actually holds. Nothing worth having happens overnight. That's the difference between counterfeit and promise. And this is why we're taking this conversation slowly, because clarity changes how you move. Next episode, we're going to talk about how counterfeits actually show up, because they don't come labeled and they don't come looking dangerous. They come looking reasonable. And learning how to discern that is a skill worth developing. So stay with me, because wisdom isn't loud, but it is steady. Until next time, stay grounded, stay discerning, and don't grab what costs you your peace. I'm Valeri Logans, and this is Savage plus Sanctified.